I'm the most fearful person you know. This is really about the idea that there are two thought systems, two belief systems. Only love is strong because it is undivided. The strong do not attack because they see no need to do so. Before the idea of attack can enter your mind, you must have perceived yourself as weak. So people who attack are very fearful, right? I forget which one of my groups posted Mike Tyson, a video of Mike Tyson being interviewed. He's saying, this is a very recent interview, and he's a very different person now, right? And he's saying, I'm the most fearful person you know. He's like, people look at me and they're afraid of me because I'm this big badass boxer. He's like, what they don't get is I'm 1,000 times more afraid of them. That's why I go on the attack. That's why I do what I do out of fear. And that's really what this is saying. If you feel safe and okay, and you get that you're strong, you're invulnerable, you can't be harmed, there's no need to attack. The truly powerful don't attack. Before the idea of attack can enter your mind, you must have perceived yourself as weak because you attacked yourself and believed that the attack was effective. You behold yourself as weakened, no longer perceiving yourself and your brothers as equal, and regarding yourself as weaker, you attempt to equalize the situation you made. You use attack to do so because you believe that attack was successful in weakening you. So we've all done self-attack. We've minimized what we really are into this little bag of bones and water. We believe we were successful at that, right? And so we believe we can do that to others. And we believe we have to because we think we're weak, we're small. That is why the recognition of your own invulnerability is so important to the restoration of your sanity. And I was just sharing this with somebody in another group, some of the qualities of true spirituality. And one of the qualities is invulnerability. But that doesn't mean, so that person tried to correct me and was like, don't you mean being vulnerable? Well, yes and no. Only the invulnerable can make themselves vulnerable. Only those who get their strong can let down their guard and be what we understand as the word vulnerable. Being vulnerable, letting you in, letting you see me, being unguarded, allowing you to access the truth in me, true into me, see, intimacy, into me, see. We call that being vulnerable, right? And that is a goal, especially for a lot of men, right? Is to learn how to be vulnerable. But you can only do that when you get that you're invulnerable, that you can't be harmed. That word invulnerable means you can't really be harmed. And what we mean by being vulnerable is just simply to let your guard down. Let yourself be seen and be known. I think you're right. It's similar to the word that they use in the 12 steps when they say to surrender, right? The Course never uses that word for the same reason as the vulnerability word, because the real root of that word, vulnerability, means to be able to be harmed. Vulnerable means you're at the mercy of being harmed. And so that is not what people mean nowadays when they're using that word, but a lot of people do still perceive it that way, right? It means to be defenseless, to be open, unguarded, receptive, honest. The word the Course uses for, surrender is relinquish, right? Because it doesn't have a connotation of losing. Surrender to a lot of people means losing. You lose, especially people that have been in especially like World War II era people never surrender, right? Surrender was not what you do, because that means I lose, right? To the enemy. We're trained to be vulnerable. And what I was saying was, somebody asked me about that today because I used the word invulnerable as a strength, and it confused them. Invulnerable means you can't be harmed, so it's okay to be undefended, unguarded, right? You can't be harmed. Use attack to do so because you believe that attack was successful in weakening you. That is why the recognition of your own invulnerability is so important to the restoration of your sanity. We have to get that we are invulnerable. We cannot be harmed. The truth is, just think how insane the world is right now around the COVID thing and all that stuff. And I'm not going to get into any political discussions about that, but how we're managing it is coming from a lot of fear. And you could say we're not managing it very well. We have not managed this year very well, right? There's been a lot of confusion, a lot of conflict and anger and fear, misinformation on all sides, right? But if the Course is saying, look, if you get that the truth of you cannot be harmed and that you cannot perish, the truth of you, a lot of these things that seem to be showing up in the illusion will fade. And at the very least, will not have an impact on you.